Well, today is May the 2nd, 2021. We haven't been to Santa Ponsa for quite a while. It's been over a month since we've been down to Santa Ponsa, so we thought we'd come today, just have a look to see what's changed. It's Mother's Day here in Spain today, so Dia de Madre, and so a lot of the restaurants will be booked up with Mother's Day lunches. We're going to have a little walk through Santa Ponsa, have a look to see what's going on. And we're outside the beach, and there's already a few people on the beach. The sun's just coming up. It's just after 11 o'clock in the morning, and there's a few people on the beach already playing on the sand. And as we've driven in, we've seen a lot of the bars are open, lots of the restaurants open too. The place is gradually coming to life. We're going to walk up now and we just have a look at the strip, and then we're going to actually walk along to the square. Many people have been asking me what's going on in the square, is anything opening up yet? Well, I don't know, we'll find out when we get there, but it's still early days. There are virtually no hotels open. I did try and have a look to see if I could find any hotels open in Santa Ponsa, and nothing yet. So people who we're going to see around here are mostly people who actually live in the area. And people like us who visit. We're travelled in all the way from Palma. We're just going to walk up to the roundabout, and then we'll go on our way to the square. So we just stopped a second or two there to speak to Yasmin, who was a pupil when we taught at BIS many years ago, and we've just been doing a little bit of reminiscing of people who have been through the school and now moved on. Some of them are back on the island, some of them have left the island, and listening to Yasmin telling me a child 22, that's hard to believe. Evidence I must be getting older. So as you can see across the road, we can see evidence of the places are opening up now. Still morning time, so we don't actually see anybody sitting there yet, but they'll be getting busy later on. Things are coming to life. I'm just getting up now towards the roundabout. Shops are open. It is a Sunday morning. Over the past couple of weeks, it's been quite difficult to get out to do videos with work, family and weather. So this is the first time we've been out for a while. I have been putting up some news updates, so if you haven't caught one of those, you'll find those on the YouTube channel. The sun's shining now today, the sky's looking blue, and here we are in Santa Ponsa, walking up towards the square. So the bar's opening up, getting ready for the day. So our news really is that the state of alarm ends next weekend. So May the 9th is the end of state of alarm, which means that all the restrictions that the government put in place, the national government put in place, end, and the power that local government has to put other restrictions in place also ends. So you might think that might mean freedom from next weekend. Fortunately, it does not. What will happen is we'll get some new restrictions that are going to be implemented locally rather than nationally. So nationally, the government have actually put in one new restriction, and that is that people from outside the EU will not be allowed to come into Spain unless they've got a very good reason, and going on holiday is not considered to be a good reason. So tourism from outside of the European Union won't be allowed until after the 31st of May. Now that might seem a little bit of a strange rule to put in place, and it's happening just to make sure that there's no spikes and that we do actually get a summer season. But the consequence of that is that the UK is no longer a member of the European Union, has never been a member of Schengen, which is the freedom of movement within the European Union. And so people from the UK, even though they may get some freedom after May the 17th, will not be allowed to come to Mallorca. And that might seem wrong, because the UK has now got an excellent record for vaccination, and the number of cases in the UK has consequently dropped dramatically as the vaccination progress has proceeded. So it would seem strange that the UK is being put in a category with all the countries where there are many more cases. It could be that they'll see the error of their ways and the UK may be given some sort of a dispensation. But at the moment the decree refers to third states, that is, not Spanish, not European Union, but somewhere outside. After that date, the 31st of May, then looks as though the borders will be opened and tourism generally will be restarted. I guess they could put some more restrictions in then. Again, we're just going to have to wait and see. So next weekend, May the 9th, the end of the state of alarm. That means the curfew, which is imposed by the national government, ends. The way the number of people meeting together is now limited, and our president, Ponza, has quite rightly said no, that's not going to happen, and she's now putting forward a local law that she has to go to the High Court to do this, and the High Court has to approve a local law which will allow her to impose a curfew, which I guess is not going to be much different from the one we have now, which is 11 PM, and to restrict the number of people who are allowed to meet in different places. So that's a law that's got to be passed before next weekend, by Friday really, and we'll see if that does happen. Quite often in Spain things do happen sort of last minute, but the uncertainty of what's going to happen is really telling on businesses. The next date is May the 17th, which is when we expect the UK to lift their restrictions on foreign travel, and when they do lift them, they are probably going to have this traffic light system, green, amber, red. Those in the green section will be able to travel fairly freely, still need PCR tests, but won't need to go into quarantine on their return. amber PCR tests, and on your return you'll need to quarantine at home. And if you go to somewhere on the red list, you have to sit on the naughty step and you have to go to a hotel that's been approved by the government and pay a fortune for your nightly incarceration. That's not all clear yet, but hopefully tomorrow, will Boris do anything on a bank holiday? I don't know. But hopefully bank holiday Monday or the week of that, we'll get some clarity of which countries are going to be on the green, amber and red lists. It doesn't look as though Spain is going to be on the green list. It looks as though Spain will be on the amber list. But there are talks of Mallorca and the Balearic Islands in general being placed on the green list because we have quite low numbers of cases, and our vaccination program is speeding up dramatically this month, so maybe we will get put onto a green list. The British ambassador came here on Wednesday to Mallorca, and he went on then to Ibiza to have talks with the government officials. When he came out of those talks, he said no, nobody's on the green list yet because it hasn't been decided. So he's very cagey about what he's predicting about the green, amber and red. But he came here for talks now. It's his first ever visit to Mallorca. And that really seems to say something to me. He's the government's representative in Spain. He's come to Mallorca to talk to the officials here to suss out the situation. Did he come to see if we could be on the green list? Well, maybe in the next week or so we'll find that out. I would hope that if we're not on the green list immediately, that certainly by June we are on the green list, and therefore holiday makers will be coming here freely and without hindrance of having to have a quarantine on their return. There still remains though the question of the PCR tests. They are at the moment going to be required, and the PCR test is quite expensive. You're talking about £100 in the UK perhaps. You're talking about €90 here, and that's per person. So if you're a family of 4, it probably makes your holiday just way too expensive. And I've received some messages today from a lady in England who says she's due to come out on June the 2nd, but she's got to pay for PCR tests for her husband, the 2 children, on the way out and on the way back, possibilities of quarantine. Then it really just is too expensive, and she really needs to cancel her holiday and perhaps postpone it until next year. It really is very sad, but she's probably going to be making the right decision if she does cancel, because it's going to be very expensive. We get put on the green list and that will help quarantine goes, but there's still the question of this PCR test. Just arrived at the square and somebody was asking me what's on the board for the events of this week. Well, it's too early to say because there are no events on the board yet, but the board's up there, it's looking good, and the square is getting ready. Is there a way around the PCR test? Well, that may happen in June. To get around the PCR test in Europe, that is the European Union, in the European Union they are proposing a vaccine passport The vaccine passport is a certificate, which they want to call the green certificate. They don't like the idea of using the word passport, but it's been coined by so many people it's going to be hard to get rid of the term. And it will be free in Europe, and it will state whether you've had the vaccine or not. If you've had 1 dose, if you've had 2 doses. And those people who have the vaccine passport and have the right criteria, then they will be able to travel freely, won't need to quarantine, won't need to do PCR tests. But again, this is for the European Union, Schengen area, and we're not sure at the moment where the UK stands on this. So we're just coming into the centre of the square. The stage is up. They've been doing a lot of work during the winter time, and we've got 1 or 2 places already open. Got the Santa Ponsa community church there. I'm just moving around so we can see the different places. Well, most of the places are not open yet, but then that's not unusual at this time, especially as the hotels are not open. But it is getting ready. Still some work going on. We can see some sacks there, and hopefully this will be ready for when the tourists arrive, which is now looking to be June. So the vaccine passport, a European Union vaccine passport, may be a way forward, and whether Johnson and his government decide to buy into this remains to be seen, but it would help for them to be able to allow travel with less restrictions. Whether he'll bow down to the European Union is another question. So for those people who are asking me about the square, I hope you've had a good look around, and it's there, it's waiting, it just needs you to come. And the local government here are looking at June as the start for the holiday season. We had to stop them because it was getting a little bit warm, and Anita had to take her green cardigan off. I hope you've all noticed that we are in green. We are colour coordinated today. We're the 3 shades of green. The only other time we are colour coordinated is when we go to a football match, and we both wear the red of Real Mallorca, who incidentally won yesterday. A very important match to win. We played Mirandés, 2-0 up, looking comfortable, and then they conceded a goal, fantastic goal from Mirandés, and then it looked a little bit shaky, and the last 15 minutes or so could easily have seen an equaliser. But sign of a winning team, sign of a top team. They managed to hang on, and they ended up winning 2-1. Second place Almeria were in a similar situation. Third place, thank you for correcting me on this one. Third place Almeria were in a similar situation. They were 2-0 up, and then it went to 2-1. But they conceded that late goal, which made it 2-2. So Almeria only get 1 point, and Mallorca get 3 points. So they've extended their lead over Almeria to 8 points. So between, at the moment as it is today, Mallorca are second, 8 points ahead of Almeria, who are third. Leganés, who are fourth, are playing later on this evening, and they could, if they win, jump over Almeria and take the third spot. So we'll be keenly watching that one. Top place is Espanyol. They're 3 points clear at the top, so if they win today they actually go 6 points clear, so they're looking in a pretty comfortable position now. Top 2 go up, and then there's a playoff for the third place. We don't want to be in the playoffs. That's the key at the moment, and we are looking very good. So yesterday when we were watching the end of the match, it was a 2-1 win, and it looked as though it was a cup final. It looked as though we'd won the cup. At the end, the manager was really excited, and the players, they just won 2-1. Alright, got to go down a few steps now, so I'm just going to turn the video off. A few ripples on the sea today, but nothing too much. Some paddle boarders out there, somebody fishing, and just coming up there's a swimming pool here that is looking very inviting. Temperatures around about 20 degrees. There is a fence around it, so I'm thinking, not saying you can't go swimming yet, but the water's looking clean. That's looking ready for people when they come later on this year. We saw a lot of storm damage here. They're still obviously working on it. Acros are up, the boards are out, and still quite a bit to be done there. The sun's really coming out now. Looking really pretty over here, really beautiful. I'm hoping to put a 360 video up of Santa Ponsa, which will be on our 360 channel. So if you want to look at some of these scenes in 360, that is, you can just turn around and have a look, then head on over there. I know it's not for everybody, but for those of you who are able to watch these 360 videos, they offer you a new dimension so that you can see things going on all around you. Paddle boarders coming round. It's become a really popular pastime here in Mallorca. Lots of people doing it. I'm sure if I did that I'd fall in a lot though, so maybe it's not for me. So it's still that time of year when you're not quite sure what to do. So this morning, should I put my shorts on or should I not? In the end I decided not to, and well, it's getting a little bit warm now, so maybe I should have done. And the walkway down there, which has been broken away for some time now, has not yet been repaired. Looks like it could do that.
Careful.
It would all feel a lot safer. We have had some really rough winds and storms during the winter time, and I don't know if this was broken during that time, but it is a little bit dangerous. Anita was always telling me to be very careful. We've made it over. Oh, and I need my year 7 chemistry class are doing a little bit of geology at the moment, and some more nice rock formations. You can see some layering in the rocks here, sedimentary rocks that we're teaching at the moment. Sedimentary, metamorphic and igneous, for those of you interested in geology.
Hello, thank you.
Well, the posts are out for the sun parasols, but parasol bit's not there. There's some beds put up against them, but I think they may not be correct. They will have to disappear soon when the local authorities start to put out the official beds and the official sun parasols. Seen a few people now walking along the promenade. It's a lovely day for a walk. Very pleasant temperatures. Got a good view of the beach here today, and it's looking pretty quiet. I'm looking at the lifeguard station, and it does have flags flying. I believe that from the 1st of May in Calvia, that's when Calvia are considering the season to have started. And that might be evidence. When we get a little bit closer, we'll find out. Hello. It looks as though there may well be a lifeguard on duty. And that's one thing which will signal the start of the season. So somebody's put the flags up. There was about a centimetre of rain yesterday and thunderstorms. Not a lot of thunder and lightning, just quite a lot of rain. So the remains here are from the rain, I would think. Beautiful views over the bay of Santa Ponsa. Just got to walk up near the pool here again. It's nice and clean, looking ready. Just climb up over the wall. Some barriers here where they've been doing some work, repairing some of the damage that's been done during the winter storms. This area now has got some tables and chairs out. Pool's been cleaned up. It was not clean when we came last time. Barriers are still out. Lots more tables and chairs ready to go out. So they're obviously getting ready.
This one
The next one along, Las Olas, is open.
So we have a coffee here.
And people are sitting down at the tables. 12:15. Early for lunch.
She's sitting at a table for coffee.
Anita's desperate to stop for a coffee. Let's see if we can stop for coffee. Well, we've been allowed into the Olas bar restaurant here in Santa Ponsa, so we're having a coffee. And we've just spoken to the waiter, who tells us that they are fully booked today. Fully booked. It is Mother's Day, so that's why it's fully booked, but that's great news for Bar Olas, restaurant Olas here in Santa Ponsa. And we're going to enjoy our coffee and then we're going off down onto the beach.
And what better location could we want than here?
Well, we just had a really nice coffee at Las Olas. Very nice staff and really great news that they are busy, at least today. Tomorrow's another day, of course, and it won't be a Mother's Day tomorrow, so they perhaps won't have so many people in. But great news that they are fully booked today, and hopefully the waiters will get some good tips. Temperature's rising, it's getting quite warm now. Take a walk to the end. Walk to the end here, we should get a nice view looking back onto the beach. I always like looking down at the water. And look how clear it is. It's still a little bit cold. Someone was asking, are people actually swimming in the sea? And the answer is I can see people in the sea. I've just seen someone dive in. So the answer is yes, people are swimming in the sea. You won't catch me in there yet, but people are swimming in the sea. So some children over there, and someone actually just jumped in the distance. Beach in Santa Ponsa. There's Anita looking down at the water. And the thing I'm interested in is over here. This is the lifeguard station, and you can see the lifeguard station has the flags flying. And it looks to me as though the lifeguards are on duty. I think they're going to have quite a quiet day today. Not many people out and about on the beach. But it's a good sign that the season has started. So when you've made all your millions, that's what you buy, I think. Moored off Santa Ponsa, not one. Look around, there's another one. That's not quite so big. Not sure if it's the angle I'm looking at that, but the front doesn't look quite as streamlined as I would like it to be. Heading back down to the beach now. It's really quite nice walk along here. Anita's got her parasol and I've got my hat on. It is a bit exposed to the sun. I can imagine a little bit later in the season it's going to be very warm to walk along here. But at the moment it's perfect. Lots of families do the walk. As we get closer to the beach, you can see the restaurants are beginning to fill up. It still isn't lunchtime yet. And anyone who hasn't reserved a table could have a problem today. Going to be a good one for the local bars and restaurants. So we've been walking for about an hour or so, and a few more people on the beach. Topping up their suntan. And this is where we started our recording from earlier on this morning, and we've walked all the way to the square and back along the walkway, across the promenade and back to the beach. And so we're just going to walk a little bit further along the beach and have a look to see what life there is. As I said at the beginning of the video, I couldn't find any hotels that were actually open now, and I suppose that's not surprising given the current restrictions and the clientele that would normally be coming to Santa Ponsa. Santa Ponsa is largely British and Irish. A lot of Irish people come here, and I noticed that the Irish seem to have even stricter restrictions than either here or in the UK, so they will be eagerly awaiting their reduction in the restrictions so that they can come on holiday. places like Santa Ponsa. So like the hotel across the road, Casa del Mar, part of the H10 group, it's got its Save Our Tourism. That hotel is closed, Barracuda is closed. Now there's an interesting sign. The toilets have been opened up. They've been closed. One thing we noticed as we drove in, caught my eye, is that the beach bar here is open. That's been closed through the winter, so that's really great to see people right by the beach having a coffee or a beer. Across the road there's a bar we stopped in one of our earlier videos. That's been open whenever they can be. The bars and restaurants are only open during the day up until 5 p.m. at the weekend, so at 5 p.m. they have to close. They're not allowed to open the interiors at all, so it's only interiors and up till 5 p.m. at the weekend. During the week, Monday to Thursday, they can open in the evening, so they still have to close at 5 p.m. but in the evenings they have to, they can open again at 8 p.m. and they can serve meals or drinks right up till 10:30. So they extended the curfew, which was 10 p.m. and that's now being extended to 11 p.m. So new rules are going to be put in place next weekend, so a week of our current restrictions, which means Monday to Thursday we can go out for dinner in the evening, but for Anita and I it's not that practical because we both work, well, I work and Anita works on a Tuesday, she's partially retired, but going out in the week it's not something we've done. We usually save that for the weekend. We've gone out either Friday, Saturday or perhaps on Sunday lunchtime. So having the bars and restaurants open in the evenings is not a great benefit to us, but other people are making use of the opportunity. There were questions, why on earth have they been made to close between 5 o'clock and 8 o'clock? Well, it's so people don't make a session of it. Start drinking in the afternoon and carry on drinking until late in the evening, getting louder and louder and potentially spreading the virus a little bit more. So it does make sense if you think of it in that respect. Closing gives the people an opportunity to go home, and if they want to come out in the evening they can do. My guess is people who've made a session of it in the day probably wouldn't be coming out in the evening, but I might be wrong. So for us it's a weekend opportunity. It's coming out on a Saturday and a Sunday. Yesterday was Saturday. We were lucky enough to have our grandchildren on Saturday, so we took them down to Palma Nova and they played in the parks by the beach. Another beach bar that's open, and they're setting up for lunchtime. And typically noisy Spanish gatherings. It's those noisy Spanish gatherings that the government are concerned about, because the louder you talk, the more aerosols enter the atmosphere, and it's the aerosols that carry the virus. And so we can understand why there are some restrictions. There's also been questions about masks. Where do we wear masks? Where do we don't wear masks? Well, if you're on the beach, you strictly don't need to wear a mask particularly if you're a long way away from anybody else. So beaches are mask-free zones, if you like. If you're close to people, then you need to wear a mask. And in all other public places, you need to wear a mask. So we're walking along a promenade and we're wearing our masks. If we sit down for a coffee, we sit down to eat, we take our masks off. You can't drink a coffee without taking the mask off. And so sitting in a bar, sitting in a restaurant is pretty much normal compared with what it would always be. Tables are a little bit more spaced out. Not quite like that. Gives you a little bit more room to occupy. Just looking to see what places are open. Restaurant there, all ready to accept the clients. It's getting close to lunchtime now, close to 1 o'clock, which is what opening time would normally be. Car park across the road where we normally park. We didn't park there today, we parked into the sports grounds. So have a little walk down here to see what else is open. Chinese restaurant is open. It's definitely getting warmer today. I'm sure Anita's happy she's brought a parasol with her. I do wish I'd put my shorts on. Taste of India's not open yet. And one place we were hoping to come to is the watering hole. They're not open yet. Maybe Claire will let us know when they are opening. And we'll be down. But you can see the souvenirs market next door is all open. It's got all the souvenirs outside. So things are all becoming back to life. So, hope you've enjoyed our walk around Santa Ponsa. We certainly have. It's been a lovely day, and hopefully places are getting back to normal, even if it's a bit slower. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, even if you're not Spanish. And if you've enjoyed this video, then please give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, share it with your friends, let everybody have a look at Santa Ponsa, May the 2nd, and we'll see you in the next video. So bye for now.
And we've had a lovely morning. Bye everybody.
Kenapa? Kenapa? Así como. Eso fue lo que estamos